So, figurative language is when
What do we
really
go on?
I'm sorry, what, Nakai?
What do we go on?
It's in classwork. The topic is notebooks. You're looking for reading notebook.
Can you mute me, please? It won't let me.
So, figurative language. Figurative language is when you write something down, but you don't actually mean what you wrote. So, there's a couple of different kinds of figurative language, different ways to, and this is what can make your writing better. Figurative language can sometimes be confusing because, like I said, you don't actually mean what you wrote, but it does help your reader sometimes to figure out what you're trying to say or what you're trying to describe. So I'm going to start with the top of this chart with simile. It looks kind of like the word smile, but simile. Okay? A simile is a comparison. You're comparing two different things, and you use the word like or the word as to describe them or to compare them. They give us an example. The teacher buzzed around the classroom like a bumblebee to flowers. So again, this is figurative language. They're not actually saying that the teacher turned into a bumblebee and was flying around the room going bzz, bzz, and landing on flowers. What they're saying is the way the teacher is moving around the classroom and going to help out the different students is like when you see a bee flying through the air and landing on the different flowers. So they're telling us how the teacher is moving by comparing the teacher to a bumblebee going to land on the flowers. So this is where, like I said, people can sometimes be confused by it because they're thinking, but that's a teacher, not a bumblebee. What do you mean the teacher's buzzing like a bumblebee? But,
What are we working on?
well, like I said, we're working in our reading notebook right now. We're going over some notes. You can open it up on your own, or if you want, you can just watch my screen for now. But if you can figure out what they're saying, or you can realize that they don't actually mean all this literally, and if you can use it in your writing, it makes your writing better. It really can. So the key to finding a simile is finding those words like or as. If they're talking about two different things that should be or that you would think are two completely different things, and saying that one of them is like something else or one of them is the same as something else, then you've got a simile. Saying something like, I don't know, the old woman's hair was like a pile of snow on top of her head. They're not really saying that her hair is made out of snow, but they're saying because she's older and she's got a lot of gray hairs or white hairs, that it looks like a little pile of snow just sitting on her head. Now we have a metaphor. A metaphor is a lot like a simile. Okay? It says a comparison of two unlike things, which is just like a simile, but here's the big difference. A simile will always use the words like or as. A metaphor doesn't use like, it doesn't use as. A metaphor will just call it something else. Okay? So take a look at this example. This football team is a sinking ship.
I can't see what you're on because I know you. All I can see is you where the reading notebook is and the math and the science.
Then you just click on the reading notebook. And it's all the way at the end of the reading notebook. Well, almost at the end. Slide 24. So again, it doesn't mean it literally. The football team is not actually a ship in the water that's slowly sinking. But what do you think they're trying to say when they say the football team is a sinking ship? What are they trying to say about that football team? What do you think that means when they say the football team is a sinking ship? What are they trying to say about the football team? If a ship is sinking, is the ship doing okay? No, because a ship shouldn't be sinking, right? It should be floating. So if they're saying that the football team is a sinking ship, what are they saying about the football team? The football team doing very well? Probably not. So if they say the football team is a sinking ship, they're probably saying that the football team is not doing very well in their games. Okay, hyperbole. This one, even though you don't know the word, because the word might be new, hyperbole, I bet you know how to use this one. And I bet you've heard people use this one too. So hyperbole is an exaggeration. It's an exaggeration that is so exaggerated that it can't possibly be true. It's completely impossible. So an exaggeration is just when you say something and you make it seem like worse than it is, or bigger, or smaller, or brighter than it really is. Hyperbole is when you exaggerate so much that it's not possible. To give us an example, I learned to ride a bike about 1,000,000 years ago. So when they say that, do they really mean that they've known how to ride a bike for 1,000,000 years? No. It's impossible, right? That's too long a time. But what they're really trying to say is that they've known how to ride a bike for a pretty long time. So hyperbole, like I said, that one is the one we probably have heard the most, especially if you have like younger brothers or sisters, or even older brothers or sisters, that they might like to use hyperbole a lot, where they say like, "Oh, she is always in my room." You're thinking, "Oh, I'm not. I sleep in my own room," or sometimes I need to go use a restroom, or sometimes I go outside. I'm not always in your room. Or sometimes like if they're supposed to help you out with something, like maybe they're supposed to help you wash the dishes, and they go, "Oh, but there's like 1,000,000 dishes in the sink." But if you go and look, if you counted, there's probably not really 1,000,000 of them. Or if they're trying to pick something up, they might say, "Oh, this is impossible. This weighs a ton." No, I don't think it really weighs a ton. It might just be kind of heavy. So hyperbole is when you exaggerate, but not a little exaggeration. It's a huge exaggeration. Personification. Personification is pretty fun. Personification, if you look at the very beginning of the word, it says person. The big clue about what personification is. Personification is when you talk about something that is not a person, but you make it sound like it is. Their example is the thirsty grass drank in the rain. So again, you make something that is not a person sound like a person. The thirsty grass drank in the rain. Can the grass really sit there and look at you and go, "Oh, Jaylene, I'm so thirsty. I need water"? Is the grass really going to say that to you? No. When it rains, is the grass really out there like with little glasses catching all the rain and then really drinking it? No. But when you say it like that, the thirsty grass drank in the rain, your reader will understand that, oh, this is grass that's probably kind of dry It probably really needed the rain because you said that it was thirsty. It wasn't just any grass, it was thirsty grass. So it was probably very dry grass before. People will also use that when they're talking about a lot of things, and they'll make it sound like it's doing things that people can do, but that those things really can't. So, for instance, if it's kind of windy and you notice the trees, especially when it gets windy, that the branches will start to like move with the wind. And sometimes, especially if there's lots of leaves on the tree, when the branches move like that, it'll kind of look like they're waving at you. But is the tree really waving? Like as you're walking down the street, is the tree really going, "Hi Jada, how you doing? Have a nice day"? No. But because of the wind, it looks like it. So if you say the tree waved hello to me, that's personification. The tree doesn't really have an arm and a hand that's going, "Hi." But you're saying it looks like that. It's acting like. Or again, if it's kind of windy and you say something like when the leaves start to fall on the ground and the wind kind of picks them up and they move around through the air, and you say the leaves are dancing. Do the leaves really have legs and stuff that they can walk around on and dance with? No. But because they're floating around in the air, it kind of looks like people do when they're dancing. You could say the leaves are dancing. Or even dancing with me if you're moving around with them. Alliteration, or sorry, I skipped one. Onomatopoeia. It's a really long word. But onomatopoeia is a word that is like that takes the place of a sound. Our example is the stairs creaked as I tried to sneak down them. So sometimes, especially like on older stairs, and I don't know, you might have this at your house, you might not. But if the stairs are a little older, sometimes as you're walking up or down the stairs, they'll creak as you're walking on them. That creak, since your reader can't hear the sound because they're not at the house or wherever it is the story's taking place, but if you tell them that the stairs creaked, then they can hear that sound or they can picture that sound in their own head for themselves. Or if you say something like you're talking about a dog and you put woof woof, even though the sound doesn't come out of your paper, when your reader says or sees woof woof, they know in their head what a dog barking sounds like, and they'll know, oh, that's the sound that's happening right now. Or if you're talking about a bell, like those little bells that they'll sometimes put on counters, and you walk up and you ring the bell so people know that you're there, that you're waiting. And if you put ding, they're gonna go, oh, okay, it's like that little bell sound, ding. Kylie went up and she dinged the bell 3 times to let people know she was waiting. They'll know that she went up and she tapped on the bell. Alliteration. Alliteration is when you repeat the beginning sounds of words. Make it like a pattern. It happens over and over. Okay? So a good example of alliteration are like the tongue twisters. I want you to raise your hand if you know any of the tongue twisters. Like about the girl who sells seashells, or about Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, anything like those. Those tongue twisters. That's alliteration. You're repeating that same sound in the beginning of the words over and over again. But they use it for more than just tongue twisters. Like brand names, Coca-Cola. They have that same sound repeated, Coca-Cola. Or Dunkin' Donuts. Again, it's repeating that same beginning sound, Dunkin' Donuts. Or like this sentence, Peter paid for the pretty poster. There's a lot of beginning of those words that sounds pa 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 pa. Peter paid for the pretty poster. An idiom. An idiom, the best way to explain it or to describe it is to say that an idiom is a saying. It's not that the words mean anything different by themselves. It's just a phrase that people use that means something else. So really quickly, I want you to raise your hand if you've ever heard someone say, or someone's ever told you, it's raining cats and dogs. Okay, so some of us have heard that. What does that really mean? If someone tells you it's raining cats and dogs outside, what are they saying? Noah?
It's raining a lot.
That it's raining a lot. Like it's raining pretty hard, right? It's not just little sprinkles of water, it's a lot of rain. What if someone said, um, what if someone said, my mouth is on fire? What are they trying to tell you? Violet?
That their mouth is hot from eating something that's spicy.
So they ate something spicy and their mouth is hot, right? It doesn't mean that they actually open up their mouth and it just means that they were eating something hot, like hot Cheetos or something, and now they need some water or some milk or something because it's a little too spicy for them. So that's an idiom. They don't actually mean that their mouth is on fire. They don't actually mean that cats and dogs are coming down out of the sky. They mean that it's raining really hard or that they ate a lot of hot Cheetos or something like that. An illusion, not illusion, allusion. An allusion is when you make a reference to a person, a place, something that happened that everybody knows about. So an allusion can be kind of tricky because you need to make sure that whatever you make an allusion to, it's something that everyone knows. So look at this example. Marty's beard was wider than Santa's. So they're making an allusion to Santa Claus. Because normally in the pictures that we see of Santa Claus, he's got the red hat, the red suit, and a big, white, bushy beard. So when they say that his beard was wider than Santa's, they're letting you know that this beard, whoever Marty is, his beard is really, really white. But the thing with illusion is, if you make an allusion to a person, a place, or something that happened, but not everyone knows who that person is or what that place is or what happened, they're going to be very confused. So if you said Marty's beard was wider than Santa's, but you don't know who Santa is, you'd go, what are you talking about? Who's does Santa have a beard? So if you make an allusion, you have to make sure that it's an allusion to something that everybody knows. So you wouldn't say something like, an allusion wouldn't be something like saying, I don't know, he's taller than my cousin Steve. Because not everybody knows your cousin Steve. So they might go, well, is your cousin Steve like really tall or is your cousin Steve really short? I don't know. I've never met this person. So you'd have to make an allusion to something that was like famous, something that was well known, that everybody would know. And the last one is an oxymoron. An oxymoron is when you use a phrase, but you have two words in that phrase that are kind of like the opposite of each other. So an example here, black is my least favorite jelly bean. So favorite tells you that you like it the most, but least tells you that it's less. So they kind of go against each other. Another one is something like, if you go to the store like Albertsons or Walmart, they sell bags, usually in the freezer section, of stuff that says jumbo shrimp. And it's just like really big shrimp. But that one, a lot of times when people are trying to describe something as small, like little kids, sometimes they'll call them shrimp because they're really small, because shrimps are small. So jumbo and shrimp are an oxymoron. Because jumbo means really big and shrimp means really small. Now, we're going to work with a few of these during the week using a couple of different activities. And we're going to start today by working with metaphors. Okay? So what you're going to do is, from classwork, you're going to go into reading, and we're going to find this assignment, jack-o'-lantern metaphor. Jack-o'-lantern metaphors. We're going to open that up. Now, for the jack-o'-lantern metaphors, there's one that's done as an example for us. So we can kind of see what they want us to do. Yes, Kylie.
I see the thing, but I don't see the assignment.
So when you went into our Google Classroom, you clicked on classwork, and then you
Oh,
clicked
now I
on...
do. It
Found
wasn't there. Yeah,
Okay.
it's there now.
So, jack-o'-lantern metaphors. Remember, metaphors are when you call one thing something else. So you're trying to describe it, but the best way to describe it is by calling it something else. And to do that, to practice with, we're going to use some jack-o'-lantern faces. So this first one is done for us. Here's a picture of the jack-o'-lantern. And they want us to use a metaphor to describe the eyes of the jack-o'-lantern, the nose of the jack-o'-lantern, and the mouth of the jack-o'-lantern. So this first one says, the jack-o'-lantern's eyes are black winged creatures of the night. Because if you look at the eyes, they've kind of got like this squiggly shape to them, kind of like bats might when they're flying through the air. Then for the nose, it says, its nose is a mermaid's fin, flashing in the sea. So the nose, if you look at it by itself, kind of looks like the fin of a mermaid. And for the smile, it says, its smile is an endless, winding, twisted road. So because the smile kind of does the same thing as the eyes, it kind of goes all wavy and curvy. They say it kind of looks like a twisted road. So not a straight road, but curvy, twisted road. The next one, we're on slide 3, we're going to do that together. And then the last 4, you're going to do on your own. Okay? So we're going to do one as practice. They did one for us as an example. We're going to do the next one as practice together. So here's our practice jack-o'-lantern. We want to use one simile for the eyes, one simile for the nose, and one simile for the mouth. So what's something we can say about its eyes? What do its eyes look like? Noah, what does this jack-o'-lantern's eyes look like?
2 macaronis.
Ah, very good. I like it. So we can put the jack-o'-lantern's eyes are like 2 macaroni pieces. Very good, Noah. And you're right. If I look at just the eye by itself, it looks like a noodle for macaroni, right? Okay. Ooh, the nose. It doesn't have a nose. So what's something I could compare it to that maybe is like invisible or you can't see? Jadine?
The nose is as clear as air?
Ooh, I like that. Because I can't see air and I can't see the nose either. The nose is as Oh, sorry, hold on. If I say that it's as clear as, that makes it a simile. Remember, similes use like and as. But
Oh.
I can say that the nose is
You used like in the first one.
clear air.
Mister,
What?
the eyes look like watermelons with bites in them.
It kind of does. Oh, and you're right, Nikai. We did use like here. So we could just say the jack-o'-lantern's eyes are 2 macaroni pieces. The nose is clear air because you can't see it. What can I say about the smile? What does the smile look like? Alexa?
It kind of looks like cheese, but that lost its pieces.
Ah, okay. So like cheese that has some pieces taken out? Okay. Its smile is a, and normally when when it's shaped like that, they call it a wedge. Wedge of cheese that is missing some pieces. Like if someone was snacking on it.
Should we write that too?
Yeah, so you can write that.
Okay.
Oh, actually, instead of the nose, because it's not the only nose, its nose. What's up, Jaylene?
I had another one to say.
Oh, okay, what's yours?
The shape kind of looks like an apple.
That kind of does, doesn't it? So if I was gonna make a metaphor for the pumpkin, I'd say that the jack-o'-lantern is an apple. Now I do have to be careful with metaphors like that because a pumpkin and an apple are kind of close. They're not exactly the same, so it would still work. But I want to make sure that when I make a metaphor, I don't choose two things that are too much alike. So like if I said the dog is a puppy, that's not a metaphor because dogs and puppies are very similar, right? The only difference is that dogs are a little older. But that would still work because an apple and a pumpkin are a little different. But this is great. The jack-o'-lantern's eyes are 2 macaroni. Its nose is clear air. Its smile is a wedge of cheese that is missing some pieces. Now, Nakai, I'm glad you pointed that out to us earlier. We want to make sure that in these metaphors, we're not using like or as. With a metaphor, you just call it something else. So we can't say that eyes are like 2 macaroni pieces. We're just saying that they are 2 macaroni. So for slide 4, 5, 6, and 7, that's what you're going to work on. You're going to write metaphors about these other jack-o'-lanterns.
Mister, can you go back to the first one?
Yeah, I will. And what you're going to do is you're going to write one metaphor about the eyes. You know what? For slide 4 and 5, you can go ahead and skip the ones about the nose because those don't have noses either. Okay? So for slide 4 and 5, you're just going to write 2 metaphors. One for the eyes, one for the mouth. And then for slides 6 and 7, you're going to make sure that you add one more sentence about the nose.
Think back to slide 3.
What's up, Bailey?
Are we doing that for homework?
We're doing that right now.
Okay.
So you should end up with 3 sentences, 2 sentences for slide 4 and 5, using metaphors that talk about the eyes, the mouth, and the nose if there is one. Yes, Violet.
Was the one we just did the only one we were going to do together?
Yeah, that's the one we're going to do together. And then these 4 you're going to do on your own. So when you're coming up with your metaphors, just look at the shapes by themselves. So if you're just focusing on the eyes, just focus on the eyes for a little bit. Write your sentence about the eyes and then just focus on the mouth. Yes, Alexa.
Are we doing it by ourselves now?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.